friends, welcome. Welcome to the World of Dreamfruit. My name's Elizabeth Russell and I am your guide through this storied realm of magic and belonging. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the lunar cycle that is the Cancer new moon of 2026, which takes us from July 14th through August 11th. And some of the themes that are cooking for us, I'm going to offer some imagery and a story that can sort of percolate in your psyche through this time and help generate your own path through the changes and challenges of this moment in a way that works best for you. So I'm just going to preface a little bit before we dive into the themes for this month by saying that the energy and purpose behind Dreamfruit, we're entering into a lunar punk realm. It's alive with symbol and story. It's informed by the astrological Sabian degree symbols. It's informed by an earthling sensibility, inspiring us all to remember ourselves as woven into the story, the living story of earth and sky. And I really want to emphasize that all of the World of Dreamfruit is held inside a very basic context, a frame story. And that context is something that we all are aware of on one level or another, and that it's two-part. First of all, we understand that the living earth has been imperiled. And second of all, we understand that our creative nature is rising up. So both of these things are true at once. Yes, we know the living earth has been imperiled. This is a very challenging time to be a conscious human and a heartful human, because we know that the climate is changing, the earth is heating up, our beautiful animal kin are struggling, there's significant habitat loss and compromised soil health, and the list is enormous, and we don't need to dig into that list. But it does matter that we bear in mind what is happening in our world, and that we also bear in mind that our creative nature is rising up is basically shorthand for we are not helpless in this moment. We do have agency, and human ingenuity is very much a part of this story. So, as you can imagine, in the Dreamfruit Story Corner, when we're telling the lunar tales month by month, moon by moon, we're telling a story that really wants to inspire and awaken your earthling nature, our earthling nature. And what I mean by that is we're looking for stories and imagery that helps us consider or imagine or sense ourselves as part of a larger weave, the story that is always already underway between earth and sky, human and more than human. Yeah, we're all inside of that. Now, with Dreamfruit specifically, when I write the lunar tales, I'm baking the astrology into these stories in a way that I hope allows your rational mind to sort of relax and soften a little bit. I find that sometimes astrology can be a little bit heady or abstract or conceptual, and I will certainly mention a few specific pieces of this time. This is definitely astrology informed, but I am an earthling first and foremost. As we sort of explore this storied realm, we will be encountering the Sabian degree symbols, as I mentioned. These are strange and whimsical and very particular to their time. They were created 100 years ago, and so sometimes we get images that fit a little bit awkwardly in our contemporary sensibility. If you're super curious about Sabian degree symbols, I do have an introductory workshop that kind of gives you a walkthrough of the symbols and offers you a kind of creative way to play with them yourself. And you can learn more about that in the description below. So what we're going to do here in a minute is we're going to dive into the story of now. And as we do that, I'll just invite you to soften your mind, kind of enter a more receptive place. We're working with the deep imagination. We're just wanting to activate a different kind of attention so that the images and stories and symbols that are being offered can kind of come in through the side door of your mind and sort of be part of your moon mind. And my feeling and experience is that as we activate our personal imaginaria with these images, with stories, with fairy tale, whether it's old stories or new ones like this Dreamfruit story, we are giving ourselves space and permission and tools to find our own path through the moment, through the story of now. And as I write the Dreamfruit lunar tales for Earthlings each year, I look at the astrology, I look at the Sabian degree symbols for each lunar cycle and for some of the major points that will be activated over the year. And I ask the question, what is the story that I can tell that will guide us toward a more flourishing world? So that's my guiding question, and we always love a good guiding question. So as you enter this lunar cycle, maybe you ask that question, like, what can guide me toward, what can I do? What are the actions? What are the dreams? What is the story I can tell about now that will guide us toward a more flourishing world? Or what is your guiding question for this time? And maybe jot that down and carry it through the month and just see what pops up. So there are a few other ways that we play inside the World of Dreamfruit besides telling the story moon by moon, besides entering these sort of lunar tales. We also like to find allies to walk with us through the terrain of the moment. And we also like to think about what themes might be most suitable for our intentions, our setting our compass, making wishes. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. Again, this is July 14th to August 11th. The new moon will be in Cancer, and the full moon is an Aquarius full moon on July 29th. So let's begin by stepping into the dream. We are entering the dream of the anticipation moon. And in the dream of the anticipation moon, we feel our deep kinship breathing into and through the world. The distant waters are carrying something toward us. We know this because we hear it softly singing over the lake. The world of speed has gained instant results and lost meaning in equal measure. But time is a midwife to life itself and sovereign in her patience. We make vigil as our breath slows to match the lapping shore. We are suspended in the great between as a dream takes shape, a child forms, a future gestates in its perfect time. And does our love feed what we cannot see? And can we pray while we wait? Yes, you are growing into a guardian of the possible. Honor the timing. So, yeah, you're growing into a guardian of the possible. Honor the timing. Can we pray while we wait? I mean, the story is, this is an ongoing sort of story. It's told moon by moon. It doesn't really end. We're all kind of traveling together, seeking to remember ourselves in our birthright state of radical belonging, seeking to remember our earthling nature. And so last month, we were in this sort of upkeep theme, the Sabian degree symbol for last month was a man trimming palms. And so there was definitely a theme of tending to the small things, but also like what can happen with a whole lot of little things. When we do a lot of those small, simple acts, something larger is protected, something larger can be created or crafted or shaped. And so the story was really about stepping back into stewardship after our forgetting. We've all been on this journey as mutants of Western civilization or modern civilization. We've been in a state of forgetting that we're connected to all life, forgetting that we're inside a living story that's not just human. All of that has been going on. And so in the story last month, we were like, yes, we say yes. We say yes to tending and caring for the garden, whatever that means for you. And in the story, when we stepped into that role, we immediately discovered that the garden itself had been left in neglect, that the keepers of the place had been driven away by these loudmouths. Where do those loudmouths come from? Anyway, they had come along and created all manner of trouble, and then the keepers of the place were driven away, and there we stood, in love with the place, and yet there was this huge loss of knowledge, of practice, of experience in stewardship. We didn't know. And so we just picked up the shears and trusted, and the body remembered. And this is how we kind of practiced. We began practicing the keeper's craft last month. And now we are being asked to wait, to explore ways of being with uncertainty. We feel our deep kinship. We're breathing into and through and with the world. And we're by this lake, and we know that the distant waters are carrying something toward us. We know it because we can hear it singing softly across the lake. When we are quiet, we can hear it. We also know that we live inside a world of speed, and this world of speed certainly creates instant results for us, but it also has lost meaning in equal measure in this world of speed. And so we're really looking at time. I mean, the Sabian degree symbol for this cycle is a woman waiting for a sailboat. So here she sits, waiting for something to come over the waters. And because this is a Cancer lunation, we understand that there are going to be themes of water and motherhood and nurturing and even birth. But here right now we are making vigil, and we are breathing slower and slowing down to match the rhythm of the lapping shore. And we are suspended in this great between. Meanwhile, a dream is taking shape, a child is forming, a future is gestating in its own perfect time. And so how do we wait? Really becomes the question. So yeah, we do want to be able to set our sight on new shores, especially now when the world feels so chaotic and so uncertain. We very much need to be employing the keen, powerful, imaginative capacity that is inborn in all of us, so that we can dream something better, so that we can dream toward a bright future, toward a flourishing world. We're setting our sights toward the new shores, and then we're trusting that we will be carried across the waters, or that the world that we seek or what we wait for will be carried toward us in its own right time. We want to be able to look up and see the constellations, the nights. Hopefully you can find some dark places and look up and see the beautiful night sky, and just notice that a whole lot of littles make these amazing constellations that have really informed human culture for millennia. And Venus is traveling through Virgo this month, and so in the same way that last month we were looking at all of the little things, this month again, many little things make beautiful big things. And then there are some other aspects going on. Uranus is forming all manner of early aspects now that it has stepped into its 8-year adventure through Gemini. And we might just start seeing little pops and sizzles of, you know, the information and the artificial intelligence and technology and how we communicate with our neighbors and connect with one another in a way that is delightful but also maybe unusual. We're looking at this contrast of the world of speed and also needing to be slow and steady and listen to what's coming across the waters, what's singing across the waters toward us. So it's two things, right? Rapid, surprising change and finding a way to rest in uncertainty, finding a way to be with waiting. A few other things to comment on about this month. Yes, this is, as I've mentioned, with the Cancer new moon, we can play wishcraft around themes of motherhood, of nourishment, of protection, of home. And you might look for allies in some fun places like a feathered nest or a manger or a set of binoculars and sunscreen. Can you wait for an invisible thing to come around? And how will you know? How will you know when it comes? So yeah, there's imminent change, but it's not here yet. And meanwhile, we do what's ours to do. We find our ways to be with uncertainty. There is a nodal shift that's happening this month. It's going to set us into about 18 months of Aquarian themes. So we're starting to look at the big picture and looking at ways to pursue shared goals with others. Always remembering that we are not traveling alone. Oh, we are not traveling alone. This is part of the antidote to the overstory of now, which happens to be killing everything, which is this idea of the lone wolf, genius, hero, whatever you want to say, that just one person is going to fix everything. Well, certainly we've seen the impact that one person can have on the world, and yet the true story of now is about collective action, uniting with others to leverage shared vision and move toward a future that can belong to everybody. I mean, another key thing about this time is that Mercury is retrograde until July 24th. So a lot of this, you know, the first part of this lunar cycle, it does really help to find ways to be with the slowing down. And then we have a full moon in Aquarius on July 29th. By then, Mercury will be direct. And the Sabian symbol for the full moon is a child born of an eggshell. So you can see, like, there's a woman waiting for a sailboat, and then there's a child born from an eggshell. So this waiting while Mercury is retrograde, this waiting while we're just enjoying these nice, long, luxurious summer days, while we're sitting in a lot of uncertainty and unknown, and actually asking questions about the world of speed and what it's giving us and what it's taking from us. And then, you know, Mercury goes direct, the moon is full, a child's born of an eggshell, then some action can start. But meanwhile, we just want to tune in a little bit to some of these sweeter, simpler songs and see where we're at with all of it. Waiting can be such a profound gift. Listen, we love this weird World of Dreamfruit, and if you want to know more, I do still have just a few more copies of the Lunar Tales for Earthlings for 2026, and I am beginning to write the story for 2027. I'm always in a little time warp when it comes time to write the year ahead. And I'm always surprised then when we're actually living into the story to see like how it shows up, and often the synchronicities are really interesting and kind of delightful. Thank you so much for sharing this little adventure with me. I look forward to seeing you again on August 12th when we'll take up our next Lunar Tale for Earthlings and see where the adventure leads. And in the meantime, may it go well for you and may it go well for us all.